I remember that you said basically like stop paying attention to it because if you give it more attention, it makes it more powerful. Could you elaborate on what you meant by that?
I meant to exactly what I just said. No matter who you vote for, Trump or Biden or whatever side of this debate, any of the debates within the existing system, I'm going to show this another way. So when Galileo looked outside the system that everyone else was measuring from, he realized that Copernicus was right. The sun did not travel around the Earth; it went the other way around. As a byproduct of that, unless you could get outside the system, you can't measure the system. So you can't measure a system problem, the system that's creating the problem. All of the people inside that who didn't have a telescope couldn't believe him. Like, it was 300 odd years until the Catholic Church said he was right. So our minds change really, really slowly. And all of the people within Bitcoin right now essentially have a telescope. They can see outside the system. They can see the truth. And as they're building inside that onto the new truthful system, the world is transitioning faster to that. Now we're very early because most people are measuring and they're getting more and more mad at a system that is designed to divide them so it can control them. And they're giving it more power with everything they're doing. That chapter in the book 4 years ago predicting all of this, that was us versus them, to show why most people would be trapped in that. Carry this forward in every different country. When you look at Bitcoin repricing the world, it's quantifiable that I can show you. So in Canada right now, if you measured Bitcoin by the pieces of paper that Canada produces, then it would say 80,000 pieces of paper per Bitcoin. But there's a whole lot of people that believe in those pieces of paper in Argentina too, and it's 55 million per Bitcoin. If they want to measure their world by the pieces of paper, they're welcome to, but that world's going to get messier and messier. And Bitcoin doesn't care if you want to convert it to your piece of paper to measure the world. It's repricing everything falling forever because it's outside the system.
So, Jeff, you said something there that caught my eye, which is this idea that we are early. Do you believe that? Of course you believe that, but we're sitting at Bitcoin at 61,000 right now. A lot of people still choose to
61,000 pieces of US paper. Right. Right. Bitcoin is repricing the world. All houses, all energy prices, everything is being repriced into this. And again, if you want to price it in your piece of paper, that's one of the constructs that most people are converting it to their pieces of paper to measure prices.
Okay, so you adopt a Bitcoin standard, but you start looking at prices in Bitcoin terms. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
That's what I'm saying. And once you start to do that, you see all prices will fall forever, because the thing that we never had before is something where we could allow the free market to work. So we lived in something that was telling us that it was the free market. And a lot of people believe that. And on both sides of the ledger, it isn't a free market when money is manipulated. So it just says who gets more of the stolen money that comes from the same people that are giving that more strength. And remember, most people are measuring inflation by, first, they spend all their time on the inflation rate that people are talking about is constantly manipulated. So it's not the real inflation rate. And that is true too. But they don't even capture that it shouldn't be measured from zero. It should be measured by the natural productivity of the free market, which I would estimate today is about 5% per year. And that means next year it'll go faster. And the year after it'll go faster because technology is exponential. That means if you did nothing in Bitcoin but hold it, then you're going to get exponentially richer over time just by the free market. But it's the only thing that can measure it. And ironically, the rise of debt, rise of manipulated markets, and then control and war is exactly as a result, as a byproduct of trying to stop deflation, because deflation makes debt more expensive and you can't repay it. If you're inside that system of debt, it's already long past insolvent and would get insolvent in a nanosecond if you allowed deflation. If you're inside that measuring from your world, it feels like everybody's dividing, and it's getting worse, and you're taking a side, and you believe in your side, and you're giving it more strength. Let's imagine you march down the street, you roll over cars, and you light things on fire, then you go home to sleep, and all the windows are fixed in the morning, and your streets are clean. Where did the money come from? It came from you. And I don't think people realize how much their power, they're just getting all of these things within the system. It's sucking their time and energy, and their lives are getting worse by trying to play prisoner's dilemma within a system that must steal from everybody.
I still cannot wrap my head around this, Jeff, completely, and envision a deflationary world, even after I've read your book, even after you've come on my podcast multiple times, even after asking these questions. Maybe I have and after 1/3 of my life, I've been a Bitcoiner. I've spent, I know more about Bitcoin than I know about the traditional financial system. And I still can't imagine, to use your book's title, I still can't imagine the price of tomorrow. I still can't imagine this future. It's very hard for me to wrap my head around it.
So why would that be? We don't have a prior that has Bitcoin in it. None of our priors, no book, no anything that you've ever read besides the new stuff on Bitcoin has something that looked like Bitcoin. And then throughout all history, if you could co-opt money, you would steal that productivity at a slow rate at first and then a faster rate from every person on the planet. So it made sense that you would try to steal that productivity within your nation to gain control. It would make sense that you try to steal that productivity globally to gain control. And it makes sense that all throughout world history, with the winners writing the history books, that if you could co-opt money to gain that productivity that should flow to others, you would. Not you might, you would. So history is full of all of that. And then how do you get elected in that system? Because it's based on theft. You have to convince your population that you either have to take control of the population through dictatorship, or you have to convince your population that there's a greater enemy inside the borders to gain control. And once you gain control, you have to consolidate control, and because it's based on theft. It's not a democracy. And then once you do that, you have to create a bigger enemy outside your borders to convince your people to fight those people for freedom. And once you reset, and once you've won that or destroyed a whole bunch of things all over the world, then you have to, if you win that war, then you reset your currency under the new rules, and you say, we promise not to do it again. This entire world history through money. And Bitcoin, why can't we see what's happening with Bitcoin? It's because it's the opposite. It provides a path away from all of that. And why it's so hard to see? Because nobody's ever seen it before. You have to intuit what's possible, what happens on the new rules. And I would say, Nico, a lot of what is happening is why this is so hard is people are trying to, in all different levels, they're trying to impose the rules that they know on the new rules. And the new rules don't care. It's imposing this.
You talk about, because the way that you just described it means that every single war that we fought in the last century, hundreds of millions of people dying, is due to broken money. Is that a
World War I hasn't ended? It's all about this.
Okay.
That's what it's all about, and all of the deaths and everything else is all about this. So it's all about control for money, because you can extract the resources from the rest of the planet through printing more pieces of paper, and it becomes modern day slavery for billions of people on the planet operating under your rules of the system. And eventually people get mad and they go to war over that to try to reset that. And so, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And I see some of the comments, the elite, it's like, no, all right, this may be true. But the beautiful thing about this is they only have control if you give them control. And you don't have to. You can just move all your time and energy with all of the beautiful people that are creating this network, and the world heals.